Hello again, everyone. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for this Labor Day Monday, September the 2nd, 2013. Of course, taking place tonight from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I think it was somewhere in Iowa. Of course, the Triple H regime ruled with an iron fist tonight, with a giant breaking down, and of course, a superstar getting fired. You see on my title of this video that this certain superstar got fired, and you saw the word fired in parentheses. I mean, not parentheses, but in quotation marks. Is he really fired, or is he storyline fired? I will comment about that as this situation unfolds. Plus, I think maybe one match added to Night of Champions. So it's begin tonight's Raw, which was a very emotional Raw, because, like I said, McMahon Helmsley era. It should be McMahon Helmsley era part duh. Because McMahon's a running with an iron fist. But like I said, you saw the casualties tonight. Mentally, physically, and they wore like wore with an iron fist. And I do mean a big fist. Anyway, we begin with that aforementioned name, Triple H, kicking off Raw tonight, talking about his power, once again, talking about a speech about, Daniel Bryan not being the face of WWE, that Randy Orton should be the face. We don't want a dwarf, a bearded guy like Daniel Bryan to be the face of the company. We want a clean-shaven face. We don't want a bearded face. We want a clean-shaven pretty boy face like Randy Orton, who hasn't been able to prove he's a good wrestler for the last 10 years. Because Orton was a good guy, and he is a great heel, like I said that much. But Orton's character gotten stale until he finally turned heel again. And I'm a D-Bryan guy, so it's like, I gotta sign with D-Bryan in this case. But as Triple H kept bumping down D-Bryan, saying, D-Bryan, you'll never be the main guy or win the big one. We should bring back the smaller titles, like the European title or the Cruiserweight title. And that prompted D-Bryan to come out saying, Triple H, I don't care what you say, I want to be the guy, man. And I feel like I am the big name, that I should be the man. And Triple H said, talk about what D-Bryan did last week, Randy Orton's call, the Escalade incident, and the fans making it rough on Triple H, because, basically, Triple H wants the fans, he wants to control the fans, who are pretty chanty tonight in Iowa, pretty decent fans, especially during the match where someone got fired. And they're basically pro D-Bryan. Triple H is like, we should dictate to you. And that's the thing about Triple H. He wants to dictate to the fans on who they should like. On who he thinks they should cheer for. They want to cheer for Daniel Bryan, they can cheer on Daniel Bryan. I know it's storyline and all, but come on. This whole Triple H thing has gotten out of control. Storyline-wise, as we saw later on in the evening. He even talked about comparing fucking Doink the Clown. They were comparing him to Doink. That was kind of a weird situation. So, he even talked about giving up a title shot. That's what Triple H is. He's like, Triple H like, he should give up a title shot, but he's like, no. No, indeed. And of course, once again mentioned the fact that Triple H was a rebel, and then he now became a suit, a kiss ass, a sellout, blah, 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 blah. And then Randy Orton, I think he kind of came out, but of course, Triple H, with, of course, the Shield as cronies being a security guard yet again. And he said, Daniel Bryan, tonight, you're going to get punished yet again. And have to prove yourself yet again as you take on the Big Show. A man who's been storyline, been embarrassingly mutilated. Basically, this is what they had the Big Show to do since his tag team partner, Mark Henry, got injured. If you missed my attack line today, I mentioned Big Show got injured. Well, Big Show's partner, Mark Henry, got injured at a house show. No word on how it'll affect Big Show and Mark Henry's chances at the tag team titles. But I know a team that should be the number one contenders. I'm trying to do the dance. I can't do it without a person by me. The millions of dollars, millions of dollars. Anyway, so there you go. We have that match set. Big Show against Daniel Bryan. Of course, we would see the breakdown of the Big Show later on, as we would see. And another match was made backstage. Randy Orton taking on Cody Rhodes after Cody Rhodes mouthed off. Of course, in this regime, you're against the regime, you get punished. Like the McMahon Helmsley era of the 2000s Attitude Era, Cody Rhodes, of course, as we all know, got punished by being put in a match against Randy Orton with this real-life wedding happening in a match where if Cody lost, he would get fired. We don't know how that went, but hey, there you go. Now, with our first match, stemming from a few weeks ago at SummerSlam with Fandango interrupting the Miz's interview segments. Of course, Miz Dango coming out last week to embarrass Fandango in his outfit. In the match I knew was going to happen soon enough. A one-on-one match. They had a tag match last week, but now they have a singles match tonight. Fandango taking on The Miz. Of course, The Miz came in with this big move. He was trying to go for figure four early, but indeed, Fandango got out of it, but he avoided it until Miz kicked him. And Miz took over for the early half of the matchup with his big, awesome offense until, of course, Fandango is dancing way. He's got the best of the Miz by downloading some decent offense with some okay punches and decent okay moves with Samurai clapping as Fandango was taking control back in the matchup. But as indeed, Fandango blocked another attempt at the figure four. Came back with his own little move. He even go for a move, a lariat move, a big lariat move, which he kind of tweaked the knee a little bit, landed gingerly on the knee, which gave Miz all the momentum to get him hooked, line and sinker in the figure four leg lock and the tap out on Fandango as Miz gets the victory over Fandango. Is this the end of the feud? Who knows? But it might be because, Miz is not a champion, so that this match would not have taken place at Night of Champions because Miz is not a champion. Or Fandango in that case, and never will be champion unless they do decide to bring back the European Championship. That's the only championship the Fandango will ever get. Unless they give him the U.S. Championship, sorry. So, there you go with that. Miz and the victory. Now, on with our next scenario, our next situation, which involved the aforementioned Big Show. Now, Big Show has been put in a bad position. We saw last week when Daniel Bryan was put in a gauntlet match. That kind of started this whole Big Show embarrassment when Big Show was, the big guy was trying to really get on and help D. Bryan, but was refusing to, was forced not to. Before we get to that little situation with Big Show, we have a mystery match as Dolph Ziggler, another man that Triple H has been punishing besides Big Show and Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan, was put in a match where his opponent was unknown. We thought it was Dean Ambrose because as Dolph Ziggler was waiting to await his opponent, here comes Dean Ambrose attacking him from behind. I thought Dean Ambrose was his opponent until Ryback, Goldberg, Cryback, Bullyback, Ryback came to the ring as Dolph Ziggler was basically beaten down by Dean Ambrose. Here comes Ryback, like I said, and basically it felt like an easy win for Ryback. But Dolph Ziggler, despite getting his ass kicked early by Ambrose, salting him up, or what we call a setup by Triple H in his regime, Dolph Ziggler gave Ryback a match, at least tried to fight back, despite Ryback's best efforts to take down Dolph Ziggler, really feed off the attack that Ambrose gave. Dolph did give it his all, despite being weakened by the premeditated attack by Mr. Ambrose. But despite all of Dolph's best efforts to fight through the pain, Ryback indeed ruled with the meat hook clothesline after a block by Dolph Ziggler. He did have some decent blocks for him, but despite that, he didn't have enough energy to withstand the further punishment, which was nailed down with the meat hook and, of course, the shell shock and the victory for Ryback with a little help, the pre-match attack from Mr. Ambrose. Of course, Triple H's plan. Now, you have mentioned Big Show. Now, like I said, I think I saw this building from last week with Big Show. He was at the ramp as D-Bar was getting triple teamed by the Shield after the gauntlet match, ended with disqualification. And Big Show was like, he wanted to get in there, but he didn't want to get fired because Triple H said if anybody on the ramp, he was forcing other superstars to watch, like he did later on tonight in the main event with D-Bar and Big Show, that if anybody interferes, Big Show would get, or anyone would get fired, and even Big Show was forced to not interfere again on SmackDown, and Big Show was refusing to participate in this matchup. I had a sneaky suspicion in my head. I was like, Big Show even going to go through with it? So Big Show was forced to come out by Stephanie McMahon because they heard rumblings in the back that Big Show didn't want to wrestle. So Stephanie ran to the ring, talked to Big Show, and she really basically talked him down. She really humiliated him in his storyline, talking about no other occupation would do for a 7-foot guy. There's no 7-foot man in Hollywood or 7-foot gas person or whatever. And the Big Show had an ironclad contract, which made me think for a moment. That ironclad contract came when Big Show was aligned with John Laurinaitis last year. It's weird to see Big Show, who was aligned, an ally of John Laurinaitis last year, a heel, aligned with his regime, his people power regime, to be an enemy of the Triple H, McMahon, Helmsley era. That 70 basically embarrassed Big Show by airing out dirty laundry, that he's broke because he spent all his money, blah, 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 blah. Then he's thinking about his family because if he doesn't do what's good for business and do the right thing to them, he will get fired, blah, 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 blah. And then he was really taken aback and really broken down by Stephanie's words. Who would have thought it would take words from Stephanie McMahon Helmsley to break down a giant like the Big Show? So there you go. Now on to the match that McMahon Helmsley era really had a hand in dealing out. The Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes match with, of course, the stipulation that if Cody Rhodes were to lose this match, he would get fired. Well, we don't know the title of this video, but still, Cody Rhodes, despite having that stipulation placed upon him, he really gave it his all in this fight, this match. And like I said earlier, the fans were very chanting tonight. I liked when they chanted, you can't wrestle to Ryback during Ryback's match. That was funny. And he deserves that chant. He can't wrestle for shit. He just beats people up. He's like a park wrestler, but worse. But the fans were really chanting Randy Savage. And you know what made it more weird was the fact that you saw a guy, I think it was like in the front row, wearing polka dots. Like Cody Rhodes' dad, Dusty Rhodes, wearing a polka dot shirt and a polka dot headband. And Cody kind of mentioned that in his promo while leaving. But Cody really fought his best in this fight and really tried to basically save his job. And even blocking an RKO after getting the Hangman DDT. Owen was setting up for the RKO, and RKO was being attempted. Cody blocked it and went to do the crossroads, which he did, and then Orton kicked out. That was like probably the only chance Cody had. He even delivered a beautiful disaster kick, and he really gave it his all out there. He really took the fight to Orton with the stipulation hanging on him. But then as Cody was trying to do another beautiful disaster kick, he tweaked the knee. He tweaked the landing, purposeful none. And that led to Orton weakening the knee even more to set up the RKO in the 1-2-3 victory for Randy Orton. That means, with Triple H coming over the mic, Cody Rhodes got fired. Now that's the key word. Is Cody really fired? Or is he storyline fired? Now Ted DiBiase, as we all know, he is leaving the company. His contract, he will not renew his contract, so who knows, maybe they did this because Cody's was aligned with DiBiase, or was it storyline? I believe it's storyline, because why would they actually fire Cody Rhodes for? Why? I think Cody was destined to finally get a big push. If he is really fired, I hope for the best, but I think it's going to be storyline firing. But who's going to bring him back? Vince is basically pulling Triple H's strings. So there you go. Let's see what happens in this situation. But there you go. Cody Rhodes' storyline, fired or really fired. We'll find out soon enough. I'm probably out of order, but yeah, I am out of order because the match before this was the Job Squad. I mean, the 3MB taking on the team I think should get the tag team title shot if Mark Henry's not able to wrestle at Night of Champions for the tag titles with Big Show. The primetime players who have been on a wall. And then he continued it, despite it was not that easy. Because 3MB did try some offense, despite being the ever-lovable Job Squad, or as I like to call them, the Chicago Cubs, or weird, the Detroit Lions of the WWE, the lovable losers, sometimes. Or the Cubs, like, whatever team that sucks you can use. Whether it's the Detroit Lions of the WWE, or the Chicago Cubs of the WWE, or the Washington Redskins of WWE, whatever you want to call them. The 3MB is the lovable losers of WWE. Zach wanted too. Sorry, Zach. Love you, buddy, but you're now a lovable loser. Said you in the morning. Anyway, despite 3MB's best efforts, they really isolated Darren in the corner, really doing some quick double teamwork and quick tagging Keith and Jinder did. Until, of course, Darren got the hot tag to Titus, the big deal, the real deal, coming in like a house of fire. I didn't think of new terms. But as Mr. O'Neal was going for a big move, Slater broke up the pin, which led to Young taking Slater out, which led to Jinder suffering a sit-out spinebuster move from Titus for the victory for the prime time players. So there you go with that. So then after that was the Cody Rhodes Orton match. Like I said, I'm out of order here, but who cares? Even I make mistakes, which I do sometimes. Hey, that's why I see quotations on my videos sometimes. I hope I won't have to do those quotation bubbles again to correct myself when I edit this. Anyway, so after the Cody Rhodes Orton match, we did see later on in the evening Cody Rhodes. I need to mention this. Cody Rhodes went out. He was followed out with security dragging him out. And he talked about, WWE hating. He had a little bit of a work. I call it a working shoot. Shooting in the storyline about how WWE hates the Rhodes because Cody was like, my dad, Dusty. He was a pioneer in the NWA, and he came to WWE wearing polka dots. And his brother, Dustin Rhodes, who was the natural, became Gold Dust. And Cody was like embarrassed that WWE would treat the Rhodes so bad. Blah, 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 blah. So there you go. And it was a good match, though, that Cody match. Even though he got, he lost the match. Was, like I said, valiant effort from Cody. The fans were applauding him as he left. I need to mention that, too. So there you go. We'll see if Cody, I bet you Cody will come back. I bet you, like I said, this is a storyline. That's what everyone needs to realize. This could be, will be, and is a storyline. So he'll probably come back maybe next week. When Edge also returns, it's kind of cool to see Edge advertiser come back next week. I had sneaky suspicion why Edge is coming back. I was like, maybe Edge is coming back just because it's in Toronto. And I was at the Raw in Detroit where he was making that surprise appearance. That was awesome. But it's in Toronto next week, so it makes sense that Edge appear. He's probably going to say hi, at least, hey, don't forget about me, but we miss Edge, though. Now with our next segment, which involved CM Punk coming out, talk about his match against Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel at Night of Champions, which is now not just a handicap match, but a handicap elimination match. So basically, they're guaranteeing that CM Punk, no matter what, will get Heyman. And indeed, Paul Heyman has no way to escape from it, because he has to fight Punk, especially if Punk does, and probably will. That's what probably happened. Like, Axel will get eliminated, and then Heyman will have to face Punk, and I bet you some screwy will happen yet again, like what happened last week with Punk finally going to get his hands on Heyman after the fan stipulation made Heyman get in the ring if Punk was to win. And of course, the candlestick incident from last week, which Punk came out with and said, I promise it's 2 empty words, but I guarantee I will beat the hell out of Paul Heyman at the pay-per-view. He cannot wussy out of this. And he wants to fight him now, but of course they don't want to come out because they're scared, blah, 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 blah. And it said Paul Heyman said, I broke his heart, well, I'm going to break his face. I kind of knew he was going to do something like, when I hear him say it, Paul Heyman said, I broke his heart, I was like, he's going to say I'm going to break his neck. Well, close enough would break his face. So the Punk is intense and is incensed on his obsession to finally get his hands on Heyman. Will he finally get sweet satisfaction in Detroit in 2 weeks as Night of Champions? Or will we once again see his dreams and goals shatter? Shatter. So there you go with that, with Punk coming in with that promo. Of course, not the usual pipe bomb, but indeed. Speaking of pipe bombs, of course, we saw what happened last week with AJ delivering a pipe bomb making fun of the Total Divas cast, who basically deserve it. Besides, I don't think Natalya deserves any of that. I don't think Natalya should be the brunt of the damage. I think the women who deserve to get made fun of is basically the Funkadactyls and the Bellatrins and Eva Marie and JoJo. Because they are talentless. And AJ, basically, whether it was worked or not, she did a great job in that promo last week. You know, AJ's not the best wrestler either, but at least, hey, she at least finally had some balls, should I say. And she's a woman, you know. Which led to our match, of course. Originally I thought Caitlyn was going to get a rematch with AJ, but then we saw that the Caitlyn-AJ feud's over, especially since AJ's now been making fun of the Total Divas cast, which led to our number one contenders match for the Divas Championship, with Natalya taking on Brie Bella against Naomi of the Funkadactyls. In typical Divas match, you know, it was like Natalya and Naomi was going for Brie, the heel, you know, the two faces against the heel. But then, you know, Brie tried to get, it was a okay match for being a Divas match, and it was kind of a sloppy match. Naomi did some decent moves and doing the wheel view move with her butt, you know, smacking against her face, of course. AJ was at ringside commentating, but as Naomi got the wheel view in on Natalya and Brie, AJ got in the ring and beat up on Naomi before the pinfall, causing a no contest. Basically, AJ causing all three of them to lose because she doesn't want to face off against any of those divas because she feels that they don't deserve it because they're talentless. Well, besides Natalya, but Natalya's the only talented one in there, in my opinion. So there you go. Because of this finish with AJ interfering without a real winner, Stephanie McMahon made the match for Night of Champions a fatal four-way. I kind of had a suspicion that was going to happen after this end result. It would be AJ defending the Divas Championship against Natalya, Brie Bella, and Naomi. Should be very intense with everybody at ringside, so there you go with that. Now, on the next match, speaking of men who will get a shot at a championship at Night of Champions, we have Rob Van Dam with, of course, his ring announcer, Ricardo. Like, it's weird to see Ricardo with Rob Van Dam. You know, because, you know, he can't do the, you know, like, El Puto, you know, he did the, it's not the same, but still, it's nice to see him as a face for once. Without, it's weird to see him with somebody different, but it's kind of cool, you know, give him a break. He's been with Alberto for like 2 years, so it's kind of cool to see him with somebody else. It feels weird. Of course, RVD taking on Damian Santos, and I kind of have a sneaky suspicion that Mr. Del Rio would get himself involved in this matchup, which he did. RVD had an advantage early on in the matchup with his high-flying style. But as RVD's offense was picking up and was delivering the Rolling Thunder, here comes Alberto Del Rio's music with Alberto in a fancy suit coming in the ringside with that distraction. Basically, Sandow capitalized on that distraction and took control for the later half of the matchup, which led to indeed him delivering all of his methodical moves, his smart intelligence moves, but of course delivering his elbow up the stain move. But it's by him taking advantage for the early going. It's kind of weird to see Mr. Money in the Bank taking on the man that's going to go up for the title at Night of Champions, of course. Sandow can cash it in on anybody. It wasn't also weird to see him handcuffed the Money in the Bank briefcase still, even though the guy who stole it, Cody Rhodes' storyline fired. Still weird to see that, because who else is going to steal it? Anyway, as Sandow finally took control after that distraction from Bono, already came flying back, literally flying back with some big moves, including a second attempt at the Rolling Thunder finally. But as he was setting up his other big move, the 5-star Frog Splash, Sandow blocked it by pushing him off the ring and trying to get him to roll up for the victory, but obviously countered out of that and kicked the hell out of Sandow to the ground, setting up a second and successful attempt at the 5-star Frog Splash in the 1-2-3 victory for RVD as he stood tall, eyeing Alberto Del Rio at the ringside ramp. It could be him getting the 5-star Frog Splash, Del Rio. Will we see a new world champion? Or will Del Rio make RVD tap to the cross-arm breaker and retain the World Heavyweight Championship in RVD's home state of Michigan, here in Michigan, because I live here. So I think not near Battle Creek, but still. Speaking of Battle Creek, I do eat Kellogg's. Gotta have my pops. Anyway, after that match, we're on to another matchup here. I think there was another match. I can't remember what it was. The next match after the RVD Damien Sundown match. I can't remember what was next. I think it was the main event time. It was main event time. Daniel Bryan against the Big Show. Big Show, as we all know, was hesitant and basically reluctant to be in this matchup in the first place. And he even talked to D-Bry backstage saying, I don't want to do this, D-Bry. I'm being forced to do this, blah, 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 blah. But D-Bry's like, I don't care what you say, Big Show. I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to entertain. I'm going to wrestle no matter what Triple H throws in front of me. Even if it's a big giant like you, the man that I beat to become the world champion the first time when I cashed in my event on you at TLC 2011. And of course, lost it in 18 seconds in WrestleMania to Sheamus. Anyway, Big Show was in the ring. You know, he's like, D-Boy, I don't want to hurt you, blah, 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 blah. And D-Boy's like, no, and basically gave the fight to Big Show. And Big Show basically had no offense for the early going. He basically let D-Boy beat the crap out of him until Big Show finally showed some offense and basically had to basically be forced to fight. And every time he would do like a big move, like a punch or headbutt, you see Big Show's like, oh, man, I don't want to do this, but I'm being forced to. I'm like chained, you know, I'm being forced to beat you up, D-Boy. And then it really heated up as D-Boy was really beating up Big Show with the big yes kicks and his big yes flying style. Even delivering a DDT on Big Show even. But it's indeed Big Show counted as D-Boy was going to the top rope for a big move. Big Show caught him in a mid-air spear. That was a big giant spear. And that was the point. That was like the breaking point for Big Show. It's like, man, I hurt you, but I don't want to. And then Big Show was setting up for the big punch. Then he was walking out of the match after that spear. But here comes the Shield and Triple H. And the Shield beat up Daniel Bryan, causing, of course, a no contest. They were triple teaming on D-Bryan, beating him down again like they had been for the last couple weeks. The cronies of Triple H. But Big Show was, of course, wanting to again finally defy orders and beat up the Shield. But of course, the regime got their way yet again, as they basically forced Big Show to get back in the ring and basically knock out Daniel Bryan. As Rollins held up D-Bry, Big Show ran to the ring. He had the fist, what is it? I'm getting beat down again. He didn't want to do it because this whole regime thing, and then he tried to leave again, but then Stephanie came out again, really egg on Big Show to, do the right thing for business, ironclad contract, blah, 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 blah. So then Big Show reluctantly knocked out Daniel Bryan, and you heard some you sold out chants. But I think Big Show did not like it, especially after the triple powerbomb. He knocked him out after the triple powerbomb. So as D-Bry was laid out after the triple powerbomb, then the knockout punch. To add further insult to injury, here comes Randy Orton. He didn't do anything to hurt him. With D-Bry laid out, all Randy Orton did was stand on top of D-Bry, having his foot on his chest, standing tall with the championship belt above his head, as we end with Orton standing tall over D-Bry, what might be the sight at Night of Champions in 2 weeks in Detroit. Like, I want D-Bry to win. I'm a D-Bry guy. And if Orton does win the match at Night of Champions for whatever reason, it won't be a clean victory. Something screwy will happen. Triple H will be involved again. The regime has been ruling with iron fist. We saw Big Show break down. D-Bry triple team again. And of course, Cody Rhodes getting fired tonight. So there you go with this Raw review for the evening. Goes all the superstars were again forced to watch without getting involved, because if they did, they would get punished. Of course, you talk or be against the regime, you're with us or against us, basically. If you're against us, well, you're a big enemy. That is it for my Raw review. Probably the shortest Raw review in a while. I think my Raw review's been like 35, 40 minutes, but hey, it's under 35 minutes for once. Yay! That is it for the WWE Raw review for tonight. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Have a great night and enjoy these last few minutes of Labor Day Monday. See you all later. Yeah.